will accept that. And if the Iranians press on eventually, and all diplomacy fails, it would probably lead to offensive action by the United States against Iran.
According to a Washington Post report, in the summer of 2004, Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld ordered U.S. military commanders to plan and be ready at a moment's notice for a U.S. strike against Iran.
There are fairly reliable reports of war games being conducted at the intelligence agencies and the Department of Defense that game out what an Iranian strike would look like.
None of our options for dealing with Iran's pursuit of nuclear weapons are great ones.
The least likely option is a U.S. ground assault on Iran, similar to the March 2003 invasion of Iraq.
The Iranian military, like most militaries in the world, do not have a chance against the U.S. armed forces. They don't have the leadership, the training, the equipment to carry out and sustain that kind of fight.
In the event of a ground assault, experts speculate that America would invade from Iraq in the west and Afghanistan to the east and proceed towards Tehran. But this strategy poses serious risks. Iranian troops readily engage in unconventional warfare.
The use of insurgents, guerrillas, terrorists, a few missiles here and there, they have a great capability. And that's the one I would fear the most. And if you look at Iraq, that's what's the most effective right now.
Iran has almost 800,000 men in its armed forces. In addition to standard troops, Iran has recently made efforts to build up its 7 million Basij force, the human wave that was so successful in the Iran-Iraq war. Experts say that a ground invasion of Iran could require almost 300,000 troops.
Even if we wanted to do it, we don't have anything like the forces for it. Our forces are already greatly overcommitted around the world, given their size.
Iran has 3 times the population, 4 times the land area of Iraq. There are very few people in Washington who are seriously contemplating an invasion.
A much more likely option is a strike from the air, using bombers deployed from bases in the US, aircraft carriers in the Persian Gulf, and other US military bases around the Middle East. This kind of attack would put fewer American soldiers at risk.
What you're talking about here is an air campaign very like the air campaign in the first Gulf War.
Before launching the assault, the Pentagon would pinpoint Iran's military defense systems using satellite photography and U-2 spy planes. The first bombs would fall on Iranian communications networks and air defense installations.
Then, once you eliminate that, you can go back and bomb the system at your leisure because they no longer can defend against you.
Experts say a successful air attack would involve an array of US munitions. Bunker-busting bombs, which can blast through 30 meters of earth or 6 meters of concrete. And camera-guided missiles, which can deliver precise hits on extremely small targets.
I can assure you there are military plans to destroy what they have. I also believe most of those plans are from the air or from some missile system, whether it be from the ground, air, or sea.
The challenge is to ensure that all Iranian nuclear targets have been identified and destroyed.
They have dispersed their nuclear sites, they have camouflaged them, and most importantly, they've demonstrated a capability to simply hide their nuclear facilities from all foreign intelligence.
The question is, do you have the intelligence to hit in the right place, the right time, with the right weapon system to get it all? And I don't think we know about everything.
There's no one site that would really cripple the program that could be easily targeted. And the real problem is that many of the capabilities of these sites could be, frankly, moved anywhere in the country.
But even with the most precisely targeted air campaign, Once the bombs begin to fall, any chance of winning favor with the fiercely proud Iranian people will disappear.
We have to recognize that airstrikes against Iran would mean going to war with the Iranians. And what we've seen from the Iranians is they don't take these sort of things lying down.
Iran could unleash the terrorist network Hezbollah on U.S. interests in the Persian Gulf and in America itself.
What Iran will do in the aftermath of an American attack is hard to say. What they could do is terrible to contemplate. They could certainly turn up the heat on the American presence in Iraq. I mean, if you think the suicide bombers in Iraq are bad now, just imagine what would happen if they were going off every hour or every half hour. If you think that suicide bomb attacks in London are bad, think about suicide bomb attacks on elementary schools in the Midwest here in the United States.
I would speculate that many U.S. forces, the bases in Kuwait, in Iraq, and other locations in the region are targeted by the Iranian Military Missile Command, as well as targeted by terrorist organizations to strike.
One way to prevent such retaliation in the wake of a targeted strike on nuclear sites may be to make clear a more destructive attack could follow.
Well, I think that in the immediate aftermath of a strike against Iran's nuclear facilities, the United States will communicate to the Iranian leadership that there's plenty more where that came from. You still have many things that you hold dear, and if this situation gets out of control, the United States retains the capacity to inflict a remarkable amount of pain on your government.
For now, the US is using diplomacy, working with Britain, France, and Germany to convince Iran to give up its nuclear ambitions.
We can say to the Iranians, you've got two paths before you. You can agree to give up your nuclear weapons and your support for terrorism, and if you agree to do that, and we can help you to achieve the kind of economic prosperity that the Iranian people so desperately want. But on the other hand, if you choose not to take us up on this offer, then we will cripple your economy.
For now, the once great empire remains unpredictable.
One thing for sure for Iran, you can't hope it'll go away. You have to engage. You have to put pressure on an adversary. And you can put pressure on an adversary without actually conducting war. But they have to know that war is a means that you will use, if necessary, to accomplish your mission.